some action.
Hey, I'm Larissa. Welcome to Goblins of Discord. This series on personality traps of the Enneagram types is an excerpt from a course I made over a year ago, and I've gotten a lot deeper on this subject. So I will be creating more content moving forward for the YouTube, but also the membership that I just launched, which you can join. And I'll be doing live calls and things of that nature. So there'll be a pathway for people to ask questions about this and how to work with this. And also, if you are like, damn, I'm living my self-fulfilling Enneagram hell prophecy, Larissa, what do I do? I need help right now. Well, you can also book calls with me to do coaching. And you can also get typed if you're like, I don't know, I'm just in hell. I don't know what hell, but I am in hell. You can book a typing call with me. And again, the membership is like the low tier, low financial investment way to also work with me, and you get discount on services. So I hope that you'll check out my brand new shiny little membership. And don't know why I'm doing all these voices, and hope that you enjoy this series and get something from it, or dig deeper into the whole depression since learning your type. Okay. Type 5. So type 5 is often known as the investigator, but it's really more of the borrower, the observer. It's kind of the logician. It's like taking a back seat to life. It is watching, it is tabulating, it is making symbols, it is thinking, but it is not really participating. It's kind of the non-participant. The type 5's fear of being incompetent and unable to fend off invasion, infection, having their mental sanctuary breached, being bled dry by human emotions, by others, maybe even their own, others' needs, and the entangling nature of life. It is what causes them to retreat and burrow into themselves. This over abstracting and specifying actually cuts them off from the insight and knowledge that they seek to attain. And ultimately, it prevents them from ever being truly competent. Their desire to be independent can actually lead them to dependence because they have such specific skills, and they're always like removing themselves, that they're not actually participating in life. And that kind of makes them almost like this frail, fragile baby in a sense. So I'll just say, like, I used to type as a 5, and I didn't understand it because I actually relate a lot to these patterns as a 7. I align to 5 a lot, but type 5s, like, really, they overdo this. Like, this is their constant state of being. It is 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. Type 5s use the vice of avarice, hoarding their knowledge, strange and unique perceptions, and in a larger sense themselves, in order to feel competent. This behavior leads them to incompetence, again, reiterating a bit, but on a practical level. They're not competent in a way that like a regular human is. So they sort of are like 4 in that way, where it's like they are like a special exception of some kind because they're creating their own sort of thing that they're good at, the thing that they do, thing that they enjoy. And it kind of, because of that, it almost leaves them at the mercy of the world that they're attempting to hide from, because their special insight is so separate and removed from that practicality. And they could become really good at something that actually ends up becoming practical, but it's almost like luck in some way. As with drawn rejection types, 5s fear being bled dry by the outside world and must cut off entry points to and access tunnels to themselves. They barricade doors, board up their windows, except for a few very narrow windows that they'll allow the world in through. Because they're competency types, this narrowing manifests in their area of competency and expertise. They may be incredibly knowledgeable in this one specific area that might be so absurdly impractical and obtuse that no one can connect with them at all. It's like, oh, okay, cool story. Who invited this guy? This guy's like literally obsessed with fucking snail anus. It's like, and he's telling me about the algebra of the dimensions of the snail anus and how snail anuses interact with bologna when they're put together on a petri dish. Now, of course, this is like I'm going the science stereotype with it, but the artist version of that is sort of like almost the same. It's like they're going to be making art that's like so bizarre and almost unenjoyable on some level that it's like, how do I fucking connect to this thing? It's like there's a dissonance. So that's too bad. You're trying to connect, because that's all you're gonna get. They'll connect with you for if you have something that they need, if you have something that they want, they'll connect with you to get that thing. As a rejection type and a competency type, they're gonna get that thing from you, but they're not gonna talk to you about your fucking boyfriend problems or whatever. Fives don't see the value or meaning in what they perceive as shallow or mundane, so this is kind of a similar thing to four. They can cut off their feelings, so that's unlike four, and any avenues others or experiences have to disrupt their competency or their studies. And so this is where nines often confused, because nines really have like that whole thing like, I need my alone time, I need my solitude. It's also a five thing, it's just a head type thing. They like their studies, but fives like literally will just be like so, and while they may feel highly emotional inside if they allow that, but they're probably gonna be like looking at it like a scientist, like, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm so upset that I have IBS right now. I'm crying really hard. Oh, it's a tear. Look at that tear. Oh, I'm gonna put that in my scrapbook to study later. Tear sample 00489. um and they selectively display what someone can or cannot touch or like enact with, like I already said, or interact with. If they do have a little jar of feelings parts, it's like floating in formaldehyde and you will likely never be able to find it. It's Yeah, I think it'll be a fruitless pursuit. They're not going to let you in, and if you get in, like, bleeding bleeding wait, getting blood from a stone. Getting blood from a stone. So feelings get in the way of their competency pursuit, and so they must put it in a file folder to be turned over at a later date. If that date ever arrives, because they are withdrawn, they hack off pieces until all that remains is a head in a dusty jar. And perhaps that doesn't sound so bad to the five, but it can feel really futile. And because if they're not actualizing these ideas or sharing them, which they may not ever do, or they might share, and then the response will be like, what the fuck? Or somebody will just like, an assertive type might come along and be like, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that. Thanks. And then the five's like, my life's work. How to overcome the trap. Once the five realizes that participating in the messiness of life as an emotional and incompetent human is what is required to acquire the truly original and meaningful knowledge, insight, and competence that they seek, perhaps they can release their wand to the disorder of the world. It may open up portals to lead them away from the figurative or literal basement and into a garden of treasures and strange rocks for them to turn over and examine. Fives must engage and get messy and allow themselves to be picked clean, as terrifying as it is. Otherwise, they just remain a head in a jar alongside their feeling parts, observing, getting dusty, and never applying their specializations on a broader scale. Fives need to connect to their emotions and allow others in on their terms as well, or just create an open border situation. Why not go nuts? Why not just go wild? Allow the peasants into the castle. Sure, you're not going to do that. And let them interact how they may. Just as an experiment, even. You can look at it like as an experiment. Fuck it. I'm just gonna embrace chaos.